Hello summoners, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're going to talk about Elsa Bloodstone a little more, and we're going to showcase her card. We're going to see some Act 6 gameplay from my 565 Elsa Bloodstone, and then at the end we're going to look at some rank 3 6-star awakened Elsa gameplay from Inc. He soloed Labyrinth Elektra with her, and we're going to show that in the last 5 minutes of the video if you want to skip to that. But in the starting here, we're taking her in Act 6.1. I chose this path because it had a long distance relationship, and she is a pretty decent counter for it because she can purify those debuffs. Although to be fair, unless you stack a lot of these weakness debuffs, they do more good than bad, considering you are running willpower, so you actually end up healing from them. But anyways, the thing I want you to see here, first of all, is that how quickly she finishes all the fights. Number of hits wise is not like, she's definitely not the hardest hitting character in the entire game, not even in the skill class, but the damage output is pretty good, and a lot of it is energy damage when you get enough busted charges on the opponent, and like that is really useful. Plus you can apply cold snap. We're going to see in the next fight here. Also, she crits like a ridiculous amount. She has an extremely high crit rate, and so yeah, here we are up against a Miles Morales, and we're going to see the evade counter potential of Elsa. She's not the best, but once she gets the cold snap on here, you're going to see we got the cold snap on Miles, and after this point we are going to be like pretty much all set. As you can see, the card is actually blocking it, but evade fails, and you can just go like play really safely after this point, applying some more cold snap, and it also does some damage which ends up killing him in the end. She's also really good for Black Panther Civil War, and I should say this, that I just took her to a random path and I found 2 matchups where she's pretty good. She's pretty good for the global node as well. So that's the thing that I want to talk about, that I was asked why, like, what's the best use for her, and truth be told, I think, in my opinion at least, she isn't the best character for anything in the game. There are always, except maybe fighting voids, but yeah, like there are always going to be situations where there are better characters, but she can just the things, the variety of things that she can handle on her own is like pretty remarkable. And that's the thing I kind of also really like about Clairvoyant. I mean, they are really different characters, to be fair, but you get to choose what you want. Like here, if you want Incinerate, you can go for that. You want Busted, you can go for that. You can keep up the cruelty from the SP3, you can go for the precision on the SP1. There is a lot of choice when you're playing Elsa Bloodstone, and I really like that in a character. I always like that in Ghost Rider, and characters like Elsa and Claire, although they are really different in the stuff they do, like they just do it better than Ghost Rider. And I really like how I really like characters where you can get like different stuff with them, depending on what you want at that moment, and they don't have just like same rotation for every situation like for most of the characters in the game. Now coming back to this fight, like this is not a good matchup because Groot does shrug off debuffs quicker, and I think that applies to Buster debuff as well, although it is up for quite a decent time. But as you can see, we are doing a lot of energy damage in the red numbers, so do keep an eye out for that as well, because the yellow numbers, they won't get too big, but combined with the energy damage, like the highest hit I've gotten from her is around 12,000 medium attack, from like having 11 or 12 busted debuffs against Labyrinth Red Hulk. But even in shorter fights, like she is pretty quick. most fights took me 40 to 50 seconds, and like the Groot took a little bit longer, the Black Panther Civil War. I was talking about that. So she counters characters like that who you can't stun otherwise. Not that many characters, I guess, really well, because she evades and then gives you an opening and you can go in. Another great use for this is against limber nodes. So like in Labyrinth, that's one thing that uh, like I was really impressed by, because after you run out of parries, especially if you're not that comfortable with intercepting, she could be actually a really decent option, because like first of all, getting an opening without taking any block damage is huge for any character. And when the first time I saw that beast synergy, the Beauty and the Beast one, I was not impressed. Like the timer gets the evade timer is fine, like it doesn't increase any damage, it doesn't like on paper it didn't look that good, but when I was playing around with her, that evade is pretty huge. And like that's the biggest thing about Ghost in my opinion. And like Ghost is definitely way better character, but the thing is you can get an opening with her without taking any block damage against most situations, and that's something that you will have to give to Elsa as well, that it's really easy to get opening with her, even in matchups like Limber and stuff, and that is a pretty good ability to have in general. Now we're going to play against this thing, and in general I'd say Elsa is a pretty decent thing counter, although I do mess up here because I'm pretty new to playing Elsa, and I didn't know that I would push thing over 15 rock stacks with SP2. So now he not only has his protection on, he has unstoppable, he has cornered me as well, and yeah, he's at 13 stacks. We put him at 15 stacks, but now we can't hit him anymore. We are in the corner, doing somewhat decent job at evading his heavy attacks, but yeah, he goes to the SP1, then we evade the SP1, and now we're going to use the SP2, and that gives us a decent amount of bursted debuffs. So now we'll start doing some really good energy damage and finishing off the fight. So now this is rank 3 6-star Elsa Bloodstone gameplay from Inc. Huge shout out to him. Do check out his channel. I will leave links to it in the description or the comment section, one of those places. And here he's going for mostly SP2 spam strategy, I think. And this fight is fast forwarded. It is like Labyrinth Elektra is a pretty stacked up opponent. We don't have class advantage here, and like she isn't an Excel character. I think that's also something which Elsa benefits from if she is awakened. Mine is not awakened, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, now during this time I let the gameplay play out, and I'm going to talk about why I gave her the points I did. So offensively speaking, she has energy damage, she has cold snap, so she can counter evade, she has really decent damage, like I did a damage comparison video with Gwenpool, and she won that by a slight margin. She doesn't have, like, she can't compare with, like, she's not the best option for Labyrinth, Abyss, stuff like that, but in Act 6, even for shorter fights, even for like variant level, Realm of Legend level fight, you won't feel that the fight is really long with Elsa. You can go for the SP3 cruelty refresh and stuff. So there are definitely a lot of ways to play around that, but she is by no means the best damage dealer, but she's definitely above average, like a lot above average to be fair, and that is why she has 89 points. Again, she can get that evade, which also doesn't trigger Nick Fury synergy, so if you pair them together, so that's additional security. And in general, she's just really fun to play, really smooth to play, and I really value playability as well. And defensively speaking, she isn't the best defender unless you place him with suicide masteries, and even then, like if you place her in alliance war, in high tier wars at least, with suicide mastery, she will rarely get a kill. But the good thing that she does is that she forces people to bring a mutant character to counter her, otherwise they will take massive degeneration damage. And the thing is that most people are like really good at strategy. The thing in high tier alliance war, like you'll see people soloing rank 3 6 Dr. Dooms, you'll see people soloing any kind of defender on any kind of node for the most part. So the strategy while you're placing defense is always how to restrict the opponent from bringing the best counters to each fight on their path, and Elsa does that really effectively because you basically take one slot away. Now of course there are really powerful mutant characters. Mutant class is one of the strongest in my opinion. Like if you have Omega Red, he's one of the best characters for Alliance 4 in my opinion, but still you can ensure that the rest of the path those mutant characters will be bad for, and some other stuff with planning. I'm not the best at planning, but I know how people use her really effectively in high tier alliance wars, and she is one of those characters who, even though isn't a stubborn or flow defender, as far as I know is still plays pretty frequently as more of a diversity character for this purpose, like to restrict the opponent to bring counters to maybe other fights and then die on them. That is why she gets 82 points on defense. So that is going to do it for this one. This Elektra is going to go down pretty soon here, and I will be making another video on Elsa sometime in the next week. Probably not for a few days, I need to learn her more, but then I will do a detailed guide on Elsa Bloodstone, talking about all her abilities, various uses once I start using her a little more in other areas, and some maybe variant content and stuff. So if you want to take a screenshot of the card, you can do it now, and that's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, subscribe to the channel for more content, and stay safe. Bye bye.